Right, so we play round number, what round is that? Round number 8. Again, at the end of the party, because I've been busy with other work assignments. So, streaming is getting very much a luxury nowadays. So, anyway, uh, let's watch the last minutes of this last game together. 25 minutes for Max Sudlu playing for Iran, and 15 minutes for Nordibek playing for Uzbekistan. So, let's see what's going on with this guys here. So no engine involved. Absolutely no engine involved at this stage. That one looks a little bit worrying. I think if I was white, I reckon black would like to just push this pawn down the board and put some pressure on this b2 white pawn defending the king. I mean, I would do that if I were black. So, wait a minute. Is there anything else here we need to be aware of? Black's done, right? Now, if this were to happen, I guess you could just push. Alright, so he played the knight. Wait a minute. Bishop c4, a3, exactly as I said, a3, and automatically, exactly in an instant, white replied with knight e5. In an instant. Now, I reckon would be if pawn takes, rook takes back. That would be the case, and then rook may be very well playing here, amongst others. So what we got here in this position, it's a very interesting ending. It's actually rook and bishop versus queen. Let me count the pawns now. 3, 2, 5, 2, 4, 6. Okay, given the fact you got two double pawns here, probably he's gonna try use them both. I mean, will you take in the first instance, then they take back, then you move the queen God knows where. You gotta be very careful though. So he didn't do nothing. The pawn is pinned, by the way. And I think Maksudu would like to get the knight here because of this particular reason. And what is good for Nordibek is that this guy can be pushed forward at some point. I'm not sure when. Amongst others, if the knight plays on d4, which seems to be a very natural way to develop the knight, so would be attacking the rook, which I guess they have to move, and the rook has to move on the second rank because you got to keep an eye on this guy and potentially on this f3 pawn, or probably something like this. I guess. You guys gonna tell me if you see some stuff here. Now, as soon as the knight lands on d4 and forces the rook to move, I reckon rook f2 or something, the c6 pawn can be captured if I'm correct. So this guy can be captured as soon as rook moves to f2. Now, if that's the best course of action, we can discuss it and you can tell me, guys, what you're thinking. I guess it's a potential way to continue. All right. All right, let's finish this drink. Where have they moved? Did anyone move? So, Maksudless thinking. You guys, you tell me if there's something stronger than knight d4. By the way, I can read messages via Facebook, kick.com, and YouTube. At the minute, if you guys watching this via LinkedIn, I can't see your messages. So actually, let me just type it in. I've got a few guys on LinkedIn, and I was sorry because I couldn't actually see the live messages from these guys, so I can't read. Let me just type it in just for any newcomer. I can't read messages via LinkedIn. Hell knows. I don't know why is that. So you guys, if you want to communicate, please feel free to migrate to other platforms. So exactly like I said, like Facebook, like YouTube, and kick.com. I can read them if you go over to those platforms. Other than that, apologies. It is beyond my control because I don't know if it's LinkedIn or Restream or both of them or none of them. But definitely it's not my fault because of that. So anyway. All right, so back to chess now. If you guys think there's something better than... okay, so what did happen? Knight e6 being played, b3. You guys tell me if there's something better than knight d4. Let me see. Knight d5, knight e6. b3. Okay. Knight d4. Is there anything else you want to calculate here? Let me know if you think it's something different than knight d4. I mean, it feels like the most natural way, especially because you may want to take on c6. This guy is dangerous too. Luckily, now where does the rook go after knight d4? Is there a problem with rook c3 after knight d4? So knight d4, targeting this, this, and this. The question is, if you play rook over to c3. Just a question. I think it's definitely a possibility. Rook c3. Defending, I mean, move the rook away from the harm's way. Defend f3 and keep the rook on a c file. Okay, I guess. Not over. I think Maksudlu gonna take advantage of the fact he's got 22 minutes. And Nordibek is 14. But, you know, time just simply evaporates so quickly. Especially when you play chess at this intensity and... time flies. And this ending is definitely challenging. That looks good. And I think quite instructive as well. Okay. Yeah, sound seems to be in order here. Very good CPU usage. Okay, back to oops. Where does the board disappear? There it is. Back to chess. Okay, so I'm suggesting for black here, knight to d4, with the purpose I've already highlighted in red paint, virtual red paint. I don't know what else can be played for black. Any queen move, I don't know. Pushing the pawn on e2 doesn't make any sense. Pushing the other a pawn, maybe. Maybe after you play knight d4? Or maybe knight d4, rook c3, and... No, you have to take c6, because if you don't, I think they're going to be pushing. And then the c7 white pawn is practically supported by the knight on d5. And that makes it quite dangerous. So if you want to grab this guy, I think you have to take it exactly like this. Knight d4, rook c3, or rook whatever they move the rook to, rook f2. I doubt it, but anything's possible. So knight d4, rook c3, I'm just saying, and then knight c6. Right? Because if you don't, again, I think you got some issues. After that pawn advances to c7. And yeah. And it's a nice outpost. I mean, you can just go back, I guess, after knight d4, rook c3, knight takes c6. I don't know what white's going to play, but maybe you can go back. Maybe you can go back. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how it should be. Now, what else can black consider here? I'm wondering what exactly is he calculating here? What is he thinking? Is he thinking to play queen a7 for getting queen on the back rank? Can you do this kind of thing? Or queen h8 in order to check the king from behind? I mean, this kind of things. Also, on the other hand, you really want to make sure the pawn on c6 is gone. I think that guy is too dangerous, that pawn. You can't allow that pawn to go to too much, right? I mean, yeah. So that pawn has to be captured. It must be captured. Yeah, that's how I see it. The other games have finished. There is no other game, so Richard Report drew with Vidit. Kaima lost to Gukesh. Draw David Navarra and Nguyen Tai Dai Van. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mateus drew with Prague, and this is a game still happening as we speak now. And I'm really curious, what is Max Sudlo cooking here? What is he? What does he want to playing? Apart from knight d4, is there anything else? Hey, dude, it took him like 10 minutes, man. Yeah, he did play knight d4. I did say it. There you go. Didn't I say queen h8 as another possibility? I did say that. I mean, I covered the potential of the queen moving over to h8. Because why did I say it? I did this. I did say previously. It's because you may get some dangerous checks, and psychologically, I think they do. They are concerning here. So c7 had been played, attacking the queen, of course. We did say about that one. b3, knight d4, c7 hitting the queen, queen h8. Now, actually, the queen has to keep a very close eye to the c8 square. That's very dangerous. It's very dangerous in terms that you're just losing. Now, rook is on prey. And there is also some dangers like this. Well, you can't take this guy. I mean, if you want to move the queen, you need to make sure you do a checkmate, or that guy cannot promote or something. I think this is serious. Very serious. So anyway, it is white's turn to play. So you're going to move the rook or something? And if you move the rook, where do you move the rook? Genuine question. Where do you move rook? Can you do rook c1? Can you play rook c1 just to make sure there's no check? Would you do rook c1, guys? Just to, you know, not getting any checks from the queen and moving away from the knight's attack. And maybe you could play in this fashion. Rook c1. Again, black queen has to keep an eye on this pawn on c7. This is very dangerous. No debacks 10, nevertheless. So rook c1 I go for. Unless there's another stuff. Can you do knight e7? But no, you can't do this. Can you? Knight c7 in order to just push the pawn. That's it. Now, if you play knight c7, what is black going to play? You always have to ask yourself this kind of question. What does my opponent do after I do this? And you need to take into account the most aggressive move they can play. Not wishy-washy, you have to consider the most aggressive move. If they check, I'm not sure that's the strongest move, because then rook blocks c1 and attacks the queen back. So I don't think queen h1 is going to happen. So knight c7, where does black play? I'm very genuine question. What are they gonna do? This is very serious. I'm not sure. Probably no debate. You know, he calculates and he opted for rook d2. He opted for rook d2. I reckon if there is any check on the back rank, king's gonna move, right? Of course, king's gonna move. King's gonna move to e2 because it's a forced move. You don't have any other choice. So if there's any queen here, you're gonna have to play this. No if, no but. You have to. You're gonna have to do this. And because you can't block now. And then probably black needs to move the queen back ASAP because there's a queen. And I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but definitely we can witness this together, guys. 12 minutes for Abdustorov and 18 minutes for Max Sudlo here now. So queen back rank, white king goes on a2. And then you have to march back quickly, because there is a promotion that you need to stop with black. And probably. Unless there's something else. But I seriously doubt it. Don't know what else is here. That pawn is incredibly dangerous. Can you, I mean, do you want to play the knight back and then queen goes to just simply take that pawn off the board? That pawn is incredibly dangerous, the pawn on c7, so probably you want to remove that guy. We'll see. We'll see, my chess friends, what's going to happen. Yeah, I think these are the best ideas I can identify now in this second. If you guys see something else and you would like to share your thoughts, you're more than welcome to type it in and tell me what else is to be played here from black's perspective, from white's perspective, and so forth. Yeah, I can't find any other idea. Well, so for white, it's important to keep the tension on that c7 pawn under protection. I don't know for how long can you do this. And for black, let me highlight another idea. I'm also looking at this. Knight f3. Probably that one should be investigated as well. Knight to f3, which pressurizes the rook. Rook's got to move, I guess, right? They can play f2 though. So knight f3. So I'm going to give you some candidate moves. Knight f3, queen c8, queen h1. Which one is it? I would probably go for a check, but that doesn't really pay off with anything, right? Knight f3, at least it's an aggressive move. It does do something. Even if you have to come back. I mean, sorry, if you move the queen on h1 check, you have to come back. If you play knight f3, at least you attack something. And if rook f2, you play back knight d4, right? Very difficult to say. Very difficult. Well, no one said chess is easy. Of course it's not. So yeah, knight f3, knight e6. Although knight e6 is the most passive move ever, and knight e6 would be solely to just target the c7 pawn, especially with queen c8 afterwards. So knight e6 and queen c8 to get the c7 pawn, which is a headache. So I don't know in what order you want to play it. With black, that is. Not an easy choice. For none of them. I think it's quite a complicated ending. It's a very difficult ending. Very difficult. And I think the main problem for black is that c7 white pawn. I think that's a problem. That is a problem for them. For black, that pawn. Unless you create some fabulous attacking things here, you gotta make sure that pawn disappears. So, not very certain. You guys let me know if you got a secret plan for either white or black to play here. A nice audiobook. Queen, queen, queen. You move the queen, you move the black knight. I mean, can you take on f3? Rook has got to move. If there's any problem, you're just jumping back on d4. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. On the other hand, you take on f3. Yeah, I guess you kind of can. Well, knight f3. Where does the rook go? Where does the rook move? Interesting. Where does the rook move? Every single pawn matters absolutely at some point. If black manages to get rid of the c7 pawn, probably might be easier, but also trading the knight and then yeah, trade the knight and get rid of the c7 pawn. That's important, and then see if you can create some turbulences with the queen and back ranks checks of things. Maybe that means something. We'll see. I can't think of anything else for black at the minute now. I don't know why. I mean, for white seems to be kind of like simpler. I mean, you got a pawn, you try to keep that pawn alive and the prospect of advancing. That's for one. And if you get attacked by the knight on f3, you have to move the rook. Probably d1, so that you could potentially, you know, prevent any back ranks checks and things. I'm not sure. But let's find out. 12 minutes for Maksudlo to play here. 12 minutes. He had like 10 minutes extra. He was 10 minutes ahead of Nordibek time-wise. And look at this little complicated scenario. And all of a sudden, he used all the time. He used all the extra minutes, and he's actually going below Nordibek's time. There you go. It's a challenging ending. And everything seems to be kind of like committal. I mean, if you take on f3, it's serious. If you get the queen back on c8, it is very passive. Very passive. And there is also that sneaky weird stuff with knight e7. So even if you play queen c8, you probably noticed, even if you play queen c8 now, queen c8, can you go rook h2? No, that doesn't mean anything. You can't make it on the other side. Queen h1, king a2, and then you go back and then you wait for white to do something. Or you do something now yourself. So knight f3 again, right? Knight f3. And I think white can play knight e7. And then I think you're just done. It doesn't work, knight f3. I don't think it works. I don't think it works. Knight f3. They take a check. I mean, I understand the power of knight e7. I really do, but you get checked practically. And I think you're in trouble. Because of the queen also coming down and checking you. So if knight f3, you reckon, guys, rook has to move, or you're going to play this? Rook has to move, right? Knight f3, and then you're going to have to play the rook somewhere. So he decided. I did highlight this because it seemed to be natural. Now, king a2. There you go, king a2. And now queen attacks here. You have to move the rook. Where do you go with the rook? Where do you move the rook? Do you go f2? He went h2. He went h2. So no more queen coming back, fellas. No more queen traveling back to stopping this guy. That is serious. No more queen going back. There is no going back for the queen. You don't have time. This is a queen written all over that pawn on c7. What is Maksudlo doing here now? You got no more checks. You got no check here. Can you cut off the rook? You can, right? With this and this? Just probably he thought about this already, right? I mean, you can do this. Cut off the rook and threatening checkmate. Oh my god, this is so intense. This is very intense. So, knight c2. Let's just consider this. Knight c2. Threatening checkmate, right? I mean, checkmate is checkmate. Knight c2. Rook must take. Oh god. Rook must take. Then queen takes. Then checkmate. So knight c2. Sorry, what am I missing here? Is knight c2 working here? Is there any other check? Knight c2 and it's checkmate. You can't take the pawn because of the knight. And if you take the knight, I'm taking your guy. Oh yeah, and then you escape on a3. Hi there, Joyce. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. So this is a very interesting one, and it's not that simple, because if it was simple, they would have played it already, all the moves. So let's look at this again. Knight c2. Oh man, he went for this. Oh god. It is definitely trouble, Dave. I think you called it, mate. Very good idea. Very good idea. So a4, definitely disrupting. Now, if there is any queen coming, I think it might be a bit too late. Oops. Wait a minute. Oh. No, that didn't happen. Let me refresh the page. Apologies. So if there is a queen, a takes b3 check, bishop takes. Is it really? I mean, aren't you supposed to cut off the rook? What am I missing here? I would have said knight c2 was the deal. Okay, rook takes, queen takes, king takes. Oh my god, these guys. G4, G5 he played. Why? Why did he do that? Why didn't he get a queen or something? Why didn't you get a queen? What the heck? Alright, so if this is this, if this is this, you take this, goes this. It's not a checkmate, but why didn't he get a queen? Why didn't he? What's the thing with G5? That's asking for a friend. What's the stuff with G5? Is it because he wanted to stop queen from trouble? But that doesn't make any sense to move the queen on G5. You're not going to do nothing in terms of preventing white to play C7, C8 queening. That's just not very obvious. Paramaxudlu, what is he? You can't remove that bishop on c4, and what would be the purpose? I mean, this guy's going to take a queen, and even if he takes a queen, he still needs a... No, actually, if he takes a queen, he only needs one move to execute the black king. You only need... Well, you need 2 turns, right? Queen and then checkmate. Well, black's not going to sit and wait, that's for sure. Hi there, Ahmed. Maybe. Yeah, deeming the black king completely immovable. I mean, they just can't move. Yeah, there could be the... But they couldn't move either because there was a knight, regardless. Knight f3. Ah, knight f3 for this, right? I mean, okay, sure. And knight f3 wants to remove the rook, which would support the queen in delivering checkmate, guys. Amongst others. I think it's incredibly complicated from a tactical point of view. This is not easy. This is just a very difficult ending to calculate this. It could be, Joyce. It could be f6 to restricting. Yeah, it could be. We could say that. Because other reason I don't see. I don't see any other reason. Now, knight f3 obviously is not just to take a pawn. Knight f3 is just to remove the rook from the H file or something like that. But the rook has to stay on the second rank, because if you don't keep the rook on the second rank, you're going to get checkmated, right? So the rook, I think we can establish the rook needs to go on e2 or something. I'm not sure, but you want to keep the rook on the second rank, because if you don't, you get checkmated. That's it. That's the end of it. So rook must stay on the second rank, guys. So is it e2, e2, g2? Which one is it? But you have to stay on the second rank. That's a necessity. You have to, or you just get checkmated. Probably rook f2 to sort of... Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, not a huge philosophy. And rook f2 actually hits a little bit this guy. We could still see knight d2 though. If I was black, probably you gotta consider knight d, rook takes, queen takes, king takes. Heck, I really don't know. What's the deal then? Because I think it fizzles out. That's it. So knight d2, cutting off the rook. Rook must take, or you're gonna get checkmated. Queen must take. Again, these are forcing moves, guys. You tell me if you think there's anything else. So knight d2, rook takes, queen takes, check, king a3, and I don't see anything else. Really, I don't see anything else. This one don't matter. It just doesn't mean it. I mean, okay, this one happens. What? Bishop takes, king takes, queen. So white's winning, right? Is it me, or after knight d2, rook takes, queen takes, white's just winning? Because I'm getting a queen, right? And if there is any pawn here, you have to sack the bishop for that pawn, right? And then you're going to have, if I'm correct, guys, then you're going to have white is going to have queen and knight versus queen. So that's it. Not quite over completely. I think it's very instructive, Dave and Ahmed. I think it's very instructive, this endgame. It's really exciting. It's very instructive. How to lose with the black queen, how to lose with the queen versus rook and bishop. But this guy is actually very advanced. This is the problem for Maksudlu, is the c7 pawn, which is a queen in just one turn. Is there any other checks? Is there any other checks here? Can you do knight and after rook takes, take the... No, that doesn't make any sense. You're just completely finished. No. No. Knight d2, rook takes, queen takes, king takes, and good luck. Probably you have to resign, right? Or do you play check first with... Okay, let me consider actually ab3. ab3 check. Bishop takes. Knight plays, rook takes, this guy takes, this guy takes. I don't see any other check. Again, I don't see the checks. There's no other checks. The game has finished. I think white's winning. I'm not going to put the engine now. I'm going to put the engine at the end. But I guess white should be winning. I don't know. Tell me, what do you think, guys? You think white is winning? Dave? Ahmed? We'll definitely check with the engine. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, knight d2. Thank you for confirming, Dave. Yeah, I think knight d2. It's got to be knight d2. I don't see what else. I mean, if you're black here... Okay, so he took first, ab3. I don't think you got too many options anyway. And now you're going to go for... There you go, knight d2. You want to bet on rook sacking? Rook d2. Of course, rook d2. Come on. Because it's checkmate. Rook d2, queen d2. And then you could just very well resign. There you go. We did say that too. I think Maksudlu going to resign at this stage, right? No, he's not going to resign. Check, king takes, then you're going to play c1. Blimey. No, you're not going to resign nothing. Queen d2 check, king take, and queen c1, obviously. But then knight c7. Oh, Jesus. Did you see this, guys? Queen c1 and knight c7. I don't know. Then what do you play? No, you can't do that. It's ridiculous. Queen c1 for sure. So queen c1, definitely. This guy's going to go here. Or down to e2. I don't know. But there's no time for knight c7 and promotion. There's no time. Because c7 is going to be captured. Oh my god, I didn't see that. I didn't see that queen c1 actually preventing the promotion of the c7 pawn. There is no promotion. There is no promotion here. There is absolutely no promotion. Queen c1. What is he thinking? Okay, queen a5. Sorry. I didn't think about... I just took just queen c1 into consideration. But isn't it cool to get the queen on the c file just to make sure? Or is there any blockage or something? Is there any way to block them? Or it's not very obvious. Okay, check. They're going to go here. And then what? You're gonna play queen this? What are you gonna play? Oh, this? Oh, what was wrong with queen c1 though? I don't know. What was wrong with queen c1? Anyway, he opted for queen a5 now. King, yeah, probably he can. Oh boy, that's a very intense ending. Very intense ending. Yeah, bishop a4. Okay, why get the bishop to g4? Bishop to g4. If you get off the pin, you might be able to. Probably. That's a good thought. But maybe, Dave, your thought is very interesting, but maybe bishop wants to go d7, actually. If you manage to move king somehow out of the pin. That doesn't mean that Maksudlu is just going to let you running away, but there's an idea. I think bishop d7 actually is very serious. I think bishop d7 is very... This is a very complicated ending, Dave, Ahmed, my friends. This is a very difficult ending. Yeah. So, Dave, in your spirit, I think bishop is happy to go on d7 rather than g4, because g4 now is just unnecessarily yes, yeah, g4 it's unnecessarily to be placed now, but d7 definitely is the only way. Yeah, exactly as you put it, is the only way to actually hope for something, because you're really dead here. You got nothing. If you don't push that pawn into queen, you really have nothing. Very instructive. 4 minutes for Maksudlu here and 12 minutes for white. This is super cool endgame. It's a super grandmaster endgame. I think it's very instructive and very intense as well. Okay. Anyway, it's black's turn to play. Let me see if they got any more checks. No, they have no more checks here. Have you noticed, Dave, if black queen plays, say, a8, I think white can go for knight e7, and then you're really going to have a big problem. So you can't move the queen to a8. And I think it was a mistake. Was it a mistake not placing queen to c1? Oh my god. Well, I'm gonna do a check and then... Oh boy, you can't do this because there's a pawn in front of you. Knight e7. Where's the check, Dave? So knight e7 because I want to promote. Where's the check you can do? Here. Oh boy, he moved the king. King b4. King b4. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the only way. But then you need to keep a perpetual check here, Dave. 97 queen d3. What? 97 queen d3 is not... Yeah, now you got no checks. I mean, you do have something here. So you can't play knight e7 because it's going to be check and I'm going to take your guy and then you're really toast. So you can't do knight e7. Well, it's black's turn, apologies. No, it's just simply black's turn to move. So we can't just say knight e7 now because it wouldn't work regardless because queen to b7 check and I'm going to take your pawn and I'm just going to win. That's it. So it is Maksudlu's turn. This guy, Nordibek, is really cool as a cucumber. And 12 minutes for Nordibek. Queen b7 regardless, Dave. Queen b7. Keep an eye on the c8 promotion square. Checking the king. That's a check. Okay, this is a check. You have to move the king. So where would you move? So let's highlight the potential squares. You got one here, which I seriously doubt. You got one here, which is a possibility. And where else would you go? Well, here, c4, and c3. I don't know. Where would you go, the king? You try to stay out of checks, potential future checks. You're going to go a3 instinctively. Oh, man, he blocks with the bishop. Oh, boy, this guy's relentless. This guy is relentless. Bishop b5, blocking with the bishop. He didn't move the king. He blocked with the bishop. That's how you play aggressively. How do you push if you are not back here? How you push that pawn? You need to move out of the pin in order to play bishop d7 and forcing a promotion. So you need to move out of check first. Maybe then king c4? Dave, maybe king c4 and then bishop d7? Maybe. Maybe. It could be. So if you're Nodibek, would you do this? I mean, if you don't do this, really, what do you do? Because that pawn on c7 is actually your only ticket to stay in the game. If you lose that pawn, you may very well resign the game. You're done. So whatever you've got, it's related to that pawn, and bishop d7 must be attempted. It must be attempted. If he manages to do bishop d7 and stay out of checks, I guess he should win. And the problem is in time issues, in time crisis, you might be playing bad moves because you're panicking as a human, you know. So let's see if Maksudlu keeps his nerves and plays the best thing, which I don't even know what that is. What is Black doing? I think Black needs to go, look for checks. You need to find ways to check. You can't even do this and that because they're going to get a queen. It's just painful. What do you do? Do you move the king? Do you move a pawn? What do you play? Do you move the black king? I mean, sorry, what do you play? You move the king. And to what end, really? Oh my god, he moved the king, but look what a painful move. Jesus. King h7, he meant he's in sort of Zugzwang, Dave. He's in Zugzwang, mate. He just moved king h7. He has nothing to play. He needs to keep the queen here. And now the question is, Dave, does Nodibek do king c4? Because king c4 unpins the bishop for bishop d7. That's what I'm thinking. And you got no checks coming your way. So king c4 out of the pin, bishop d7, and I guess Maksudlu could be in serious trouble. Ah. King c4, right? What do you think, Dave, about king c4? There you go, king c4. Bingo. We got this one correctly. That makes sense. So, Dave, the plan was true. I mean, true in... Oh my god, this is so painful. King g7 back. Bishop d7 because there's just nothing. Absolutely nothing. Hey, there is a crazy... Dave, did you see that? After bishop d7, I'm playing queen here, mate. Maybe I make a... Oh, what did I do? What the... Maybe I'm going like with a... Something from behind, but... No, it is just ridiculous. No. Yeah, king c4. No, that's it. It's bishop d7. You can't do nothing with black, by the looks of it. Okay, you gotta check. Bishop d7, we were correct. The whole idea you had, Dave, with bishop g4 and so, it actually does come to fruition now. It's the idea of getting this diagonal for the pawn's advancement. So we were correct with that thing. But now Maksudlu is desperate for perpetual checks. I think he gotta check the heck out of the white king all the time. You're dead here. If you don't check the white king continuously, you're done. But can you check perpetually? Okay, let's find the safest square for the white king. I guess you don't want to block with the bishop. It's ridiculous, right? It doesn't make any sense. You just play c3. Where's the next check? The next check can be here. And then I'm going to block. Then it could be here. Then I'm going to run away. And if you go here, then I don't know. I'm going to run away or I'm going to block with the knight. Okay, let me try and take the red paint off the board here. So I think c3. I think c3, king c3, king c3, king c3. Or king b3. Nah, not b3. Because queen's going to play b5. So king c3, queen a5. Check. Can you block? You got to be very... King b3. King b3. He got this check. He got this check here. Queen takes. My God, this is so instructive. This is so instructive. Dave, do you think we are going to see, after the trade, we're going to see knight and bishop checkmate? So hi there, Kron. Was that? Gotta be careful blocking with the C. Yes. Bingo. Yeah. That's true. True. Yes, that's the reason he played king b3. Thank you very much for your thought. Yes. Totally. Absolutely. The knight plays an incredibly important purpose in protecting the c7 pawn. That is correct. Bingo. So guys, I wonder if we're going to see a bishop knight checkmate. Presumably if and only if white gets the respite from the checks and manages to push the pawn, queen takes, bishop takes, and then these guys all get traded and things. And that would be a very passionate ending, right? Knight and bishop checkmate. Probably Nordi Beck masters this as well as many other checkmates. Anyway, let's get back to the concreteness of this. 28 seconds or something for black here. Okay, apart from this check, what else have we gotten here? Apart from queen b7. Sorry, is there any other? Oh yeah, there is another check here. Apologies. So there's actually, I can see here, two checks. You either go b7, you either go d3. Which one is which? b7. I mean, not like there were too many options, honestly. So where do you go for not getting checked anymore? You going here? Well, you go c3. Where's the next check? There's no more check. Okay, he went on c2. Fine, because again, c2, c3, it don't matter because next one is c8 queen, my friends. c8 queen. And bishop takes. And hopefully we're going to see knight and bishop checkmate. I'm dreaming at that one. I think I would love to see that. Let's see. Well, is black going to just resign now? He got enough of it. Okay, let's get a queen now. c7, c8 queen. You have to play this one in a fraction of a second. I don't think you should be delaying. You tell me what else is here. If you don't promote now, what do you want to play? Because you're going to get further checks. Queen's going to come down. They're going to check you and check you and check. You got to take a queen now. You have to take a queen. You must take a queen. Just take a queen and let him think. If you don't queen now, I don't know what else you could possibly. There you go. Queen's going to take, or queen's going to go e2, or he going to resign. I think it's three main things that might happen. Oh boy, queen e2. He didn't take the queen. He wants to grab this one. He wants to grab the e4 pawn, guys. I think it's going to be a very exciting chess ending here, my friends. King to b3. You want to bet? Queen takes here. There you go. Knight is being attacked now. What do you play? What do you play? Not quite over yet, but you still have to pay attention to things here. And, you know, you're adding the time pressure. All sorts of things can happen. So what do you play? You defend the knight, right? How do you defend the knight? Or do you move the knight? It feels weird to move the knight. I guess you wanna. I mean, if you do this, you also cut off the queen. You're like blocking your own queen. So what do you play? Do you go? Okay. What? My God, that's a beautiful tactic. If you take it, it's a fork, guys. If you take it, it's a fork. He resigned. What a fabulous game he played. What a fabulous tactic by Nordibek. This is so sweet. So Queen G8, you're taking its Knight F6 right then there. Bang, and that's it. It's just too much. But would you have continued? So King takes, Knight plays, you move, I'm taking your guy. Then I'm assuming White is going to take those pawns. I don't know if you're going to promote, but actually, blunder, Queen C1 was best. Wait a minute. Huge advantage for sure. Checkmate in 23 moves. Yeah, sure, of course. Checkmate in 23 moves. It's very obvious. Was there another possibility somewhere? I don't think so. You pretty much finished here due to the fact that there is a pawn on c7 ready to be queened. Yeah, there's just nothing. No, there's nothing here. There's just nothing anywhere. No, let me just go to... Actually, to the very end. Yeah, Stockfish 23 is just obvious for everybody. I mean, we all saw that. Okay, so I assume you're gonna take, it's gonna be this, you're gonna play, they're gonna be taking. Now those guys will have to be removed. Yeah, well, okay. D5, you're gonna have to go something with this guy. Very nice, very nice. These guys are gonna be smoked by the king and by the knight, and yeah, and you got the extra guy. But anyway, I'm pretty much sure that Nodebek would be more than able to deliver checkmate on knight and bishop. That wouldn't be a problem. Fabulous stuff. There was a key moment towards the end. Well, I don't know if towards the end. There was something. What was that blunder? Queen a5. Hey, guys, I said Queen c1 here. Guys, I did say during the stream, I said Queen c1. Because Queen c1 would be constantly watching this guy from afar. So there is a very big fat chance for a draw. And actually, he went for the very big blunder here because the queen doesn't protect the c8 promotion square. Damn, I was right about Queen c1. I did say Queen c1. I didn't consider Queen a5. I didn't like it because actually Queen c1 keeps the queen at distance defending c8 square all the time. He did the unfortunate blunder. So it happens even for a super GM to screw it up right at the very end. I'm really sorry for Max Sudlo. I think he's gonna beat himself to death. When he gonna see now, when he gonna see now that actually he could have played Queen c1 draw, he gonna be very pissed off. Queen c1 draw. And we did say Queen c1. I didn't even think about Queen a5. I don't like it. You don't have control over the c8 square. So the only correct move. Oh, hi there. Hi, Darian. So the only correct move is Queen c1. So now you're protecting the c8. You're protecting c8. You're checking the king. There is no shenanigans. I mean, okay, it's still intense. It's still to be debated, but you keep an eye on the c8 square. There is no knight e7 because you're going to take straight away. I'm sorry he didn't see it. He would be upset. He would be not very happy. He won't be happy with this. Better no one tells him because there is another round tomorrow, so... Oh, crazy. Very, very difficult. And even a super GM with 5 minutes, they miscalculate things. I am sorry. I am sorry. Okay. Alrighty. So, what did they do actually? What did they play? E4. Let me just cover up those things a bit here. E4. So they played a Sicilian, guys. They did play a Sicilian. C takes, knight f6. Knight c3. Actually, let me just cover everything here. I think that's for the best. Knight off, right? That's the knight off. A6. Well, with e6. h3 prophylactically, h3 to just stopping any bishop coming here. Yes, to just stopping any bishop coming on g4, that is, or knight. So that's a prophylactic idea with h3. I think it's a sort of Sveshnikov now, Dave, with e5. Or what variation is this with a5? e6 would have been knight off. Now, if you play e5, there's no more knight off here. Sveshnikov, what's this? Sveshnikov, right? Knight b3. That's where it traditionally goes. b5 and knight c6. And e5, what is that? Scheveningen, what is that? Bishop e3. Bishop e6. Queen f3. Knight bd. Ooh, look at this. Oh boy, look at this one. Look at this g4 idea. Very nice, because he wants to do castle long. He wants to do castle long. And then bishop d3 or something, or maybe you just keep it as it is. Yeah, he wants to do castle long probably. h6, castle long. Rook c8, normally, rook c8. You're also ready to actually sacking the rook here on c3, if necessary. I think that happens a lot in the Dragon. I think that happens, the idea with rook c8, taking the knight on c3. It's a very common idea in the Sicilian. That is the reason he actually played it straight away, knight to d5. That's the reason he did it. And boy, look at this move. Knight f8. I mean, you can't tell me you're not surprised by this. Yeah, e6 is what I go with too. e6 is what I play when I play the Sicilian. When I don't do Alekhine or French, e6 I'm going with, yes. Knight f8. Bishop d3. What's the thing with knight f8? Okay, you want to go knight g6 and reinforce the king in case you want a castle short or something? Weren't you supposed to keep the knight there to keep an eye on the b6 square and things? Knight f8 for knight g6, I guess. Okay, bishop d3, developing, knight g6, fine. Rook e1, okay. Oh, he's dancing with those knights. Knight d7. Probably to pushing f pawn or something. Well, you can't. I mean, no, you cannot. Not now. You can't do this now because there are 2 pawns, g4 and e4. You can't push now the f. King goes away from the rook. King goes away from the rook. That's very important. It's just too subjected to the rook's attack, so you don't want to keep it there. Very nicely. Getting rid of the bishop on e3. Maybe. c4 had been pushed. Castle short. Opposite side castling. Very sharp. Very sharp indeed. Attacking the queen. Knight h4. Queen is under attack. Bishop takes first. Takes a piece, hitting the queen. Takes. Queen goes away from the knight. Okay. Then I reckon knight would like to come here as well. Not yet. Rook c6. Rook c6 reinforcing this guy here so that the queen can't take. So that's the reason, I guess. Rook c6. Queen goes back away from the anticipatory knight f4, because knight f4 would have happened, I guess. And I think this guy would be very happy here at some point, or maybe here. Yeah, knight e5. I didn't see the game. I'm just looking at this now, retrospectively. Aren't you feeling like a bit unnecessary pushing that a pawn? I mean, I know that the a pawn wants to stop the black pawn to coming down. So I'm aware that if Nordibek went for this, is because he wanted to stop a5 coming to a4. So that's why he pushed it. But it feels like it also weakens. It also weakens. What else could you have played? No, you have to move the queen, make space to go on d2. Weird. That knight comes on f4 exactly as we said. Okay, there's very, very many tactics here happening right now. This is a very complicated position. f3, try to cement everything here. So you got no problem with that guy. f3, the bishop defends, holds it all. Okay, king played here, just to allow the circulation of rook, maybe. Knight plays centrally. King g7. H-pawn being advanced now. Bishop takes. Wasn't necessary? Yeah, that guy is too problematic. Probably. And you don't want to have the knight constantly hitting on b6 or stuff. And also... Okay, he took with... Yes, he took with the C, not with the E. He took with the C. Isn't that an invitation on the C file? But anyway, you attack first and the rook has to move. Rook goes back. Takes. Knight moves. Threatening to take back on g5. Bishop attacks the rook. I love this kind of counter hits here. Bishop a6. Rook has to move again. Rook c1. Takes and takes. Knight takes back. Queen c6. This was a very elaborate, very complex and superb Sicilian. That was a superb Sicilian. Such a beautiful Sicilian. Knight g2, rook f3, doubling up on the c file. A lot of power. A lot of pressure on f3 now. Both knights attack f3. Just this guy here. Knight defends. You don't want to drop them. Rook goes on the back rank. Defense. A little bit of advantage for black, but just everything can be lost in a single move. Why did they do that? Oh, they want to go G, right? They want to go on the G3 or something. They want to go on the G probably. An outpost would be here. So amongst others, you may want to get that knight right there. Or maybe b4. So b4 or d4. I don't know which one's best. You got to sit down and think. And they don't have the luxury of time. You notice already 3 minutes for white, 7 minutes, well, 8 minutes for black. It's not too much time available. So I attack your queen if you take my rook. Oh, this is so complicated. This is so complicated. My God, this is very complicated. So you attack the rook whilst they attack your rook. They attack now they attack your knight. White is attacking your knight twice, whilst your rook is still under threat. I mean, you can't tell me this is easy. Now, knight attacks the queen with tempo. This is very difficult. I mean, you need like 10-15 minutes to looking at this. This is just crazy. And now he went for knight b4, attacking the queen. And Nordibek now goes with super confidence. And he just takes the rook, giving up on the queen. And he created the passer that will ensure his victory in the end. Very, very difficult game. Incredibly difficult game. Whew. And it was a draw at some point, but this is so difficult. My God. Bishop c4, yeah. I remember this. I think I started the stream when they actually were in more or less in this position. And look at this one. The rook is being attacked, but c7 is the main problem here. Sicilian are always incredibly crazy sharp, Dave. I can't remember easy Sicilians. They always so sharp. Always so sharp. And they are meant to be like this. I mean, you play Sicilian with black for winning, actually. So if you want to win the game, you gotta have to go for this kind of stuff. Absolutely a superb game here. It's a shame he didn't notice the queen c1 that would have ensured the draw here. But I guess I mean, you just get tired. The fatigue, stress and fatigue, and you may missing otherwise stuff that any other average people might be seeing it, players. So yeah, queen c1 it seemed incredibly obvious for me. Incredibly obvious it seemed to me to play queen c1, which was indeed confirmed by the engine. Surprisingly, he didn't notice queen c1. He probably saw something that wasn't there, or I don't know. He thought he's got a time to moving the queen on the back rank. He definitely miscalculated something here, Dave. He grossly miscalculated. Again, you are a human. Stress and fatigue will always take their toll on you and on your accuracy. You're going to be missing. Painful because the engine gives you a very fat 0-0 here. It's just 0-0. That's it. And it's just painful for Black here to have missed this. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up now. Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you. Who else have I missed here? Mr. Kron. Thank you. And I don't know who else. I think I just had a handful of guys here. So appreciate your presence, people. Tomorrow being Thursday, yeah, we'll be returning again. And if you guys tomorrow want to do some analysis or something, we can just discuss a couple of... Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, mate. So tomorrow, guys, we can do some games analysis or... Oh, it's the round number... Hold on a second. Tomorrow they do the next round. So yeah, we're going to be seeing that one too. So, cheers and see you tomorrow evening, fellas. Take care of yourselves. See you soon.